Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Saturday, January 11th, 2025. I'm not going to start the video over. You can watch me fumble the date. Well, I've had numerous of my viewers who live in the UK ask if I would please do a reading about the grooming gang scandal. And while those of you who live close to where that's going on know what it is, not everybody does, as I found out when I mentioned it to a couple people locally, and they had no clue what it is. Now, the scandal apparently goes back about a little over 20 years. It's still going on today is the problem. And the people that should have been taking measures to protect little ones who were being targeted by gangs of men who were wanting to have female company that was very young. I'll just put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Um, Failed them at every turn. And this is one of those times when, despite some ongoing and current efforts to downplay, to to make this go away, it's not going away. In fact, Elon Musk even took up the cause and is calling out about the situation. Why? Because one of the people at the height of this issue that should have been prosecuting criminals was telling law enforcement to stand down, to just assume that the little ones involved were voluntarily there. Now let's talk about what those little ones might have looked like. There is a father who has spoken out on the platform known as X. He was arrested when he tried to rescue his 11-year-old daughter from a flat, an apartment, where she had gone after school at the invitation of a group of men. And they had plied her with alcohol, and you can imagine the rest. The dad was arrested for trying to rescue his 11-year-old daughter. It's mind-boggling. It's obvious to me this is a country that doesn't have Second Amendment rights. And maybe they wish they had now. Okay, so I'm going to take you to a couple of articles. I don't do a share screen type of thing. I'll share a screen with you, but I don't do a compilation that you can access directly. I'm hopeful that YouTube will allow the two links that I'm going to talk to you about to remain in the video description box. But if they don't, please note where I said I found these items. But really, all you have to do is plug in Grooming Gang Scandal UK, and you're going to get to it. Okay. I'm going to go to that share screen now. Let's see some information about this situation. But again, thousands and thousands of youth were targeted over the last 20 years, and according to Daily Mail, are still being targeted today. So the failures are ongoing, and that's why this isn't going away, despite the fact that they are conveniently erasing some documents and losing them and misplacing them. There's still a lot of data out there, and so viewers wanted to know, are they going to see justice? Are these victims going to see justice? We'll find out from the tarot in a minute. Now, the first screen I'm taking you to, pardon me, is Sky News. This was the best article I found if you're new to the topic or you just want to have a timeline of what's going on. It's in Sky News. It was published on January 8th, Grooming Gang Scandal Timeline. I'm going to be scrolling down here, so if scrolling bothers you, look away for a second. There's a breakdown of who should have done what, who didn't, how was it covered up, what prosecutions have occurred, because there have been a few. And it breaks it down very, very nicely, including Sir Keir. They made him a knight. The prime minister's a knight, and he failed these children. He's still their prime minister. And that's who Elon is calling out, because at the time when this could have had some very decisive action taken, he had law enforcement stand down. Okay. And it concludes on January 4th with responding to an article in the Daily Telegraph, which claimed to show how the grooming gang scandal was covered up. by saying how the rape of Britain was covered up, and then later added the sniveling cowards who allowed the mass rape, well, I probably shouldn't use that word on YouTube, of little girls in Britain are still in power for now. So we have that article. Now, then we have, hang on, I closed one I wanted to open, so I'm going to stop the video here and get that up, okay? But that was the important one. That was the one that showed you the timeline. And again, I told you where that was. So hang on while I get that other one ready for you. Okay, the second item I would like to share with you is from the Daily Mail. And this was published on the 9th of January, just 2 days ago as I make this video. And it says, these kind of gangs are still you doing what to children in every city around the country, warns ex-detective who investigated sadistic abuse ring. Okay, so it's still going on. It hasn't stopped. There was, if you'll read it, either of those articles I shared with you, in one town alone, there were over 1,000 victims. 1,000 victims. That's a lot of standing down on the part of what should be law enforcement. That's a big failure of innocent little lives to be protected. And to arrest the parents when they try to stand up and protect their children. Wow, that's a level of evil I just don't, I can fathom, but I don't want to. And I personally don't want to live in a timeline where this is even something that can happen. So this was a difficult video to make. Just topic-wise, it really was. I'm going to ask the universe, though, the question that my viewers wanted. I'm not hopeful with the fact that since we are pre-ascension and things haven't totally changed in our timeline where we're at, I'm not overly confident that we're going to have a lot of positive information from the universe, but we're still going to ask, will the victims of these crimes see justice in this lifetime? Let's find out. Hopefully, at the very least, the people that were in power that gave the stand down orders, they'll lose their knighthoods, they'll lose their positions. At the very least, those will. And then ongoing prosecution of the offenders themselves who took advantage of political correctness and, claiming if that enforcement was being partial or however they got out of consequences for this or just simply paying off law enforcement. I don't know, but we want to find out about justice. So let me switch the camera. You can watch me work with the cards and we'll find out if in this lifetime there is going to be some justice seen by these victims and to what extent, if so, plus additional insights and information. So that's how we're going about this. So the little ones in Great Britain who are even now being targeted and harmed by these gangs, as I make this video, we want to know. And this has been an ongoing problem, so it's not going to solve overnight. It didn't occur overnight. But will the victims see some justice in this lifetime? And to what extent, if so, plus additional insights and information the universe might want us to know. Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles, King of Swords, Three of Wands, the Star, Ten of Pentacles, King of Wands, and the World. Okay, in this lifetime, many of these victims are going to see some justice occur. We've got that happening right now with the reads we have so far, and we'll get some additional cards and see if there's further insights. Now, let me tell you what I saw in the cards that made me say that with such confidence. First of all, the Nine of Pentacles is a situation, and this is a very strong divine feminine energy that has a abundance, that has independence, that has is living without fear. And this, I love that this is indicating the victims and what they're going to see, that they're going to be able to live without fear. The, those who we refer to, if we're awake, as the Alliance, which is multinational and even multi-world, are aware of the situation. And the sword suit is one of that also involves justice. The written and spoken word, the power of that, with Elon speaking out about this issue and not letting it go, is going to be very helpful. And the fact that despite efforts to suppress the information and the testimony and the evidence, it's still coming out. They're not letting it go. I think the people in Britain have had it with a lack of safety and valuing of precious innocence. And so they're not letting it go. Now, the recent past card, we had the Three of Wands, which just, it said, I view this as the way forward. They saw it was time for a change. And so they're stepping up and stepping out. And the Star card shows up, which tells us that things are moving in the right direction. So there are efforts, there are going to be continued and even increased efforts to stop the crimes and to prosecute those who committed them or allowed them to happen. So that's going to still continue because things are moving in the right way. Now let's look at the near future. Again, looking really, really good. We've got the 10 of Pentacles, which is kind of like celebrating. I think there's going to be some compensation to the victims, but hopefully not with a gag order attached to it. So some of the victims are going to be celebrating and in a better place. And God love them, they deserve it. The King of Wands is our strongest insight card in here. He's vision and leadership. So the leadership that allowed this to happen is going to be facing leadership that won't allow it to happen, that wants consequences for that. And then ultimately, again, because our world is in the process of doing some major changes, as the world changes, we're going to see even more of these situations going away, stopping, prosecutions happening, and just moving to a place. I would love to have some big flash occur, and let's get rid of all the clones and NPCs and those that aren't truly human in other than outward form done away with. And I think that would do away with a lot of the issues that we deal with. Got a little woo there for you guys, but hey, that's where I'm at. The Chariot, a triumph card. The Nine of Wands, determination. Can you see what the universe is telling us here? Knight of Swords, another white hat card. And then the firm foundation, always indicated by the Three of Pentacles. So look here. We've got the World is a victory card. The Chariot's a triumph card. So yes, we've got a solid yes that many of these victims are going to be seeing some gratifying changes or prosecutions or resignations or items of justice occurring. There's a determination on the part of the families, the parents, those law enforcement who chafed at orders like that. There are still some good ones that are in there. They're determined to, as that Daily Mail article said from that ex-detective, speaking out, speaking up, saying it's a problem in every community. We have to address it and not letting it get swept under the rug. The Knight of Swords, again, they're ready to take action. And so things are changing. And there is like I said, there's a basis for this, not just the rule of law, but the rule of decency. And it's going to be taken into consideration. So yes, those victims are going to see some gratifying changes, or at least validation of what they experienced. And that's excellent. That's part of the healing process, is being validated. And then seeing that there's some changes, that there's some prosecution, that despite efforts to make something go away, they can't do it anymore. Love that. So let's recap. We discussed in this video what the grooming gang scandal in the UK is. It's a problem that's been going on since at least 2001, and it's going on even today, where gangs of men are allowed and permitted to prey on underage victims. And we discussed some of the issues that have gone along with that. Now, Elon Musk has been calling out the Prime Minister of Great Britain, uh, Keir Starmer, because from 2008 and 2013, right when this was getting lots of traction, he was in charge, director of public prosecutions, head of the Crown Prosecution Service, which conducts criminal prosecutions in England and Wales. And during that time, there was very little action taken that would have protected the innocence of the victims and prevented victims from being victims. And the calling out is, I believe, very justified. What isn't justified is the knighthood and current position that man holds, and that's just Laura's view. I'm sorry, but again, Laura's view. So we ask the universe, will victims of these gangs see some justice in this lifetime? To what extent, if so, plus additional insights and information. We got overwhelmingly a yes, yes, yes. And we didn't get the justice card by itself, but we did get, first of all, the victims indicated by the Nine of Pentacles, which is a card of confidence and wholeness and independence, and again, some resources, some tangible resources. So that was good. What told a little more about that was the King of Swords, which is one of my white hat cards, and white hats exist in every country on this realm. Anybody who opposes evil and victimizing little ones, white hat, solidly white hat. The people themselves have turned away from the suppression efforts and things like that, and they've seen a way forward to speak out, speak up, and demand some protection from justice, prosecution, that kind of thing. It's going to be effective because the current situation right here with the star shows up when things are moving in the right direction, when there's every reason to feel positive about the outcomes, positive outcomes you are hoping for. The near future cards included the Ten of Pentacles, which is one of strong family ties. So the families that are gathering together and listening and believing their little ones and standing firm and asking for some justice and demanding some resignations and accountability. It's going to pay off, absolutely, because one of the insight cards was the World card, which is the ultimate victory card, and just an affirmation that yes, our world is going to a place where actions like these not only won't be tolerated, but just won't be as in the potential of actions that people take. So we are going to a place that's going to be a little kinder and gentler and definitely more nurturing and protective of innocent life, and that is really good. Got a Triumph card that showed up for the near future too. Determination on the part of victims and their families to stand firm, to speak out, to demand, and not get quiet and not be allowed to be stifled and silenced. And so, yeah, so the question was, will some of these children see some justice in this lifetime? Absolutely. Will all of them? No. Some of them are going to have to wait and understand that it's going to be dealt with outside the earthly plane or after this lifetime. And that's just the way it is, but many of them are going to see some justice. So please, if you are one of those who is aware of this situation, who has been demanding some action, some accountability, some taking responsibility, despite the fact that they are conveniently losing some records and things like that, keep speaking out, speaking up, and stand firm that our little ones deserve to be safe. Absolutely, always. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention, and to be willing to get a perspective that's a little non-traditional for some of the issues of our world and the current events that occur in it. So until next time, a little piece of advice: don't buy into the fear porn, okay? Live a life of joy and expectation, and spend your time imagining the world we want to live in instead of obsessing over the one that we do and don't have a lot of control over. So we are going to create the world we want, where children are safe, our little ones are safe. we're going to be part of it, even if it's just with our discernment and our manifestation efforts. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. And we are, by living lives that aren't fear-filled, we are denying energy to evil that wants it and needs it. So keep up the good work, people. Keep smiling, keep joyful, keep peaceful. Um, Head on a swivel, absolutely. But let's make this beautiful realm be even more beautiful and more safe for all those who live in it. Until next time, if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light, and I wish you everything bright. Bye.